Supernatural Season 11, Episode 16, Safe House. So it's been about a month. Yeah, it's been a full month since we've had the show, and I think this is probably one of the best episodes they could have come back on. I think this was a great. It was a Monster of the Week episode, but obviously the real, portion, like the meat of this episode, was we got to see two really cool characters come back after quite some time. And it wasn't like we got to see Bobby and Rufus in heaven or their spirits or anything like that. It was just, here's a flashback. It's just Bobby and Rufus doing a mission together, and it was really cool. And I love the way that they did it, where they experienced the mission for the first time, Bobby and Rufus, so they do this. And at least one thing, I think pretty much the only thing that actually happened that helped Sam and Dean was the fact that they did it so they were able to go to the former house owner, and they went to her. But I love the way it worked out. It was just two different cases. Same case, but it felt so different because we have two totally different people. Each moment just between the two cases for these guys just had somebody did something silly. There's always just something funny. They did it through some of the editing. They made it really funny. Just the styles of the characters, like Bobby and Rufus. Probably my favorite scene in the whole episode, when that woman was like, I'm head of the neighborhood watch or whatever, which honestly I probably would have been. I wouldn't have said what Rufus said, but I would have felt the same way. Like, we're FBI. Like, it doesn't matter if your neighborhood watch is neighborhood watch. Like, people bring like snacks to those meetings. I assume. I don't go, but I'm assuming. And she's like, well, it's the neighborhood, and you're FBI. It's like, FBI is the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and as Rufus said, it's frankly none of your damn business. And I thought that was that. I just thought that was one of the funniest things. That was hilarious to me when he said that, and I was like, he's definitely right, because it's FBI. It's like you wouldn't. It's the same as cops. I mean, it's a little different because it is the FBI, but you wouldn't do that with cops either. It would just, if you're just naturally asking, like, is something going on? It's my neighbor. That was different, but she's just like, I want to know what you're doing, basically. And I was just like, I feel the same way as Rufus. I never would have said that to someone, but it was really, really funny when he did that. And they had a great editing moment of comedy when, of course, typical digging up the grave, and he's like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. And without explanation, and that's probably one of my favorite things about that scene, they just cut to Bobby just with like an excavator machine, and he's just digging this thing up. And that was the funniest thing. I'm like, he just had this, or like it was just in the graveyard or something, and it was just there. Like, they had it, and he's just relaxing and digging and stuff. And then he throws the shovel to Rufus, and he's like, I don't work on the Sabbath, man. He's like, it's sundown, so get to work. He's like, oh, it's a good catch. So just all sorts of silly stuff between both cases. And towards the ending as well, when both Dean and Bobby were captured, or like right before that, they have the differences between the guys, and I just thought it was really, really good. And Dean's, of course, cocky, and he wants to charge head first at the issue. He's like, come get me, you son of a bitch. And then they cut to Bobby, and he's like, stay away from me, you son of a bitch. And I was like, this is good. Like, I like seeing, these edits and stuff. And we got some really great moments with Bobby as well, because this was during like full-on apocalypse style, because they don't say when, but it's like, oh, a handful of years ago. So, and I thought that was fun. That's probably the silliest time frame I've ever seen. It's just like, sometime before. So I just like that, some of the issues that he was having and worrying about the boys and stuff like that, and calling them his boys and things like that, I just really loved. And getting to see him kind of have that moment without it being the two of them was actually good, because we know that's how he feels all the time, but he doesn't always have someone around to say it to, and how he's so worried about them. So I really love getting to see that. And of course, Rufus takes like these emotional moments, and he's like, he stops and like, your boys, and then he looks at him and he's like, all right, hey, just saying, the oldest rule. But he does, by the end, he does tell him, forget the oldest rule. But I really thought this was a great episode. It was a cool monster as well. It was interesting. It's not something we'd had before. So that was awesome. It was a Soul Eater, if I remember right, which I'm pretty sure I do, because that's the name of an anime. This is my favorite anime, so I was like, once they called it that, I was like, I'm not going to forget that. So we have that. It was very creepy. It was very interesting how it worked too, because at first I thought it was just it's in this house, so it kills the people in the home. And then it's like it keeps those souls, like it kind of holds onto the souls, I guess, in between, new souls, and it kind of drains them slowly, kind of keeps them on reserve. So I'm assuming all of those people that showed up at the end were former homeowners, like throughout all of the the decades and stuff, people that just weren't saved, unfortunately. And I thought that was actually a very interesting concept. And they talk about how once the soul eater kind of takes your soul, you exist in a place beyond space and time. And Dean brings that up at the end, where it's like he actually had a moment with Bobby. It was, unfortunately, it was for like a split second. I would have loved it if they actually teamed up, and it was like, was I just seeing him, or were we actually, working together? That would have been pretty cool. But they have like a little moment at the end. I just thought that was really cool. It was just like a little moment out of time, and I just thought that was really sweet. But it was a really fun episode. I really enjoyed the monster. Rufus and Bobby is always just so funny to me. Rufus is just silly to me. I really love when he comes on the show, because he's always like he gets the job done, but he's always wisecracking about every single thing, and it's like Dean times 5 with Rufus, I feel, and it's just so funny to me. I love seeing that. So it was great to see both Rufus and Bobby come back, of course. So it was just fun to get that, which is very surprising, because I thought for sure that this episode was going to be what's actually going to end up being the next episode, because the promo was always like, oh, Amara is going to be coming back, and they were fighting some sort of monster inside of a cabin. I thought that's what we were getting, and I was like, that seems like it's not going to be as much of a main story episode as I want it to be, and I will still have to wait until next week, but I still, just based on how the trailer seems, the next episode doesn't seem like it'll have a lot to do with, like, really pushing the main plot forward. But once we got this episode, it was totally different than what I was expecting. I was like, this is really good. I was totally fine. Like, it doesn't have to, some of the episodes, they don't have to advance the plot forward. If they're just really good, then they're just really good. And this was definitely a great one. So we got to see Bobby, we got to see Rufus. A very interesting structure. I don't believe in all the seasons that they've ever done anything specifically like this. I'm pretty sure they've done some stuff where they've done they've kind of shown like back in time and things like that. I'm pretty sure they have, but nothing specific like this where they take on a case that specifically Bobby took on, and we actually get to see it. They did a lot of that, season 1 and season 2 is like we have Dad's Journal, so they did a ton of follow-up, of course, but this is done just in a different structure, and I really love getting to see it that way, just watching the case unfold as they, each pair goes through, and how Sam and Dean kind of take over, and how they realize certain things that Bobby and Rufus may have done right or possibly wrong. Stuff like that I just thought was really cool. So definitely a great structure, unique structure for the episode that I don't believe we've had. Once again, 11. Once it gets to 11 seasons, a little hard for me to remember if they ever did anything, specific. But I don't believe we've ever seen anything as specific as this. But I really enjoyed it. I like the monster. The monster didn't show up nearly as much as I thought it would. Like, even at the end, ultimately they didn't kill it, which is probably one of the craziest things about it. There was never really, we got it, like we beat this thing. It's kind of just like, it's here, and that that's how it ends with Bobby and Rufus. Like, don't mess with the wallpaper. They say that specifically, and I was like, oh, that explains it. Which I knew that's what happened, because obviously they show the woman doing the wallpaper, and she scratches the symbol. So it was really obvious as soon as that happened, like, oh, something's out. And so it kind of still ends the same way a little bit, but definitely enjoyable. I certainly thought it was a really cool Monster of the Week. I am excited, of course, for the next episode. Hopefully it is a really big plot pushing episode. It does have Amara in it. Hopefully that's not a dream sequence, kind of like the last creature they had. I totally can't remember the name of that, but with the hearts and stuff. So hopefully it's not a dream sequence. It really will end up being Amara, but we'll have to wait and see. But this was definitely a really cool episode. Very surprising that we got to see Bobby and Rufus, but just the way it was done, I think, was just done perfectly. And then they have that little moment where Dean actually does run into Bobby at the end on the stairs, and they kind of both fade out at the same time. So I thought that was just like a cool, interesting little sweet way to have them see each other again. And like I said, we got to see Rufus and Bobby, and it wasn't like spirits or in heaven, or we have a mission that leads us to heaven, anything like that. It was just Rufus and Bobby on Earth as guys, as hunters. So Really enjoyed it, of course. Definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And with the way they did this, which, like I said, I don't believe we've ever really had before, what other characters would you guys want to see come back in a case this way? Because we've lost a ton of different people, fathers included. Um, so what other characters would you guys want to see? You know, some of the other characters maybe aren't exactly hunters, so they'd be showing brand new sides of certain characters if they did it that way. But I would love to know what characters you guys would like to see come back. It's kind of cheating, but of course I'm just gonna say I want their dads. I would love for us to get Jeffrey Dean Morgan in an episode again. Would just be awesome. Um, I think he'd be #1 pick for everybody, but I have to. That's just my personal pick. But I want to know yours, and of course what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.